Downforce, the invisible force that keeps a race car glued to the track without the penalty of weight. In real racing, it comes from aerodynamics, wings and airflow pushing the car into the ground. In slot cars, it comes from magnets. So this is downforce in action, and in our world, it's a pretty polarizing topic. You get it? Polarizing because there are magnets? Never mind. You either camp magnets on or magnets off. But what if it's not just black and white? Because downforce, no matter how you make it, it's a double-edged sword. Too little and you're fishtailing out of every corner. Too much and the car feels like it's dragging an anchor. So, the real question is, where is the sweet spot? And more importantly, how do you actually measure it? Today we are building a slot car equivalent of a Formula One wind tunnel. We are building a downforce measuring device using nothing but a common kitchen scale. Let's start with the heart of the build, the scale. This is a basic kitchen scale I picked up online. I'll drop a link in the description if you want the exact model, but anything similar will do the job. What matters is that it's thin, accurate, and big enough to fit a 132 car. You might even squeeze a 124 on here. Next, we'll need a solid base. I'm using a 9mm MTF board cut roughly to the size of the scale. This is going to hold everything together and, more importantly, keep it stable. Now, time to do something the manufacturer definitely didn't intend. We're taking the scale apart. A few screws underneath, and just like that, warranty officially void. Inside is actually pretty simple. We got the display, the load sensors, and in this case, built-in lithium battery. So we can discard the AAA batteries to make space for the build. With that out of the way, we can start planning the modification. For the magnetic side of the things, I'm using a piece of Carrera track and another strip of MDF. This will become the magnetic base, the part the car will be pulled towards. Now, the key idea here is separation. The scale measures the car, while the magnetic force pulls against something completely independent. If those two systems touch, your readings are useless. So we need to create a path for the magnetic base to pass through the scale without ever touching it. To do that, I'm using the internal grid of the scale as a guide, marking out the opening. First step, drill the corners. Then bring in the Dremel, starting with the plastic and then switching to cut through the metal top. Take your time here and definitely wear safety glasses. This part fights back. Once the section is out, we clean up the edges. A bit of sanding, a bit of filing, until we get clean opening, slightly larger than the MTF. Nothing fancy, just precise. Next, I mark the position of the scale's feet onto the base. A bit of paint, press it down, and And now we got a perfect reference point. These feet are actually the load sensors, so this part matters. I remove the feet with the sensors from the main board, and then unscrew the plastic legs. And drill a 4mm hole through each one. Then I transfer those positions onto the MDF base and drill matching holes. On the underside, I widen the holes so they can fit nuts just flush of the surface, and effectively turn them into proper mounting points. I run 3mm bolts through the sensor's legs. Test fit everything and trim them down to size. A quick clean on the threads, and they go back in place. They clip in securely exactly where they were designed to sit, and importantly, nothing interferes with the sensor. Make sure that you select bolts that the head of the bolt does not touch the sensor. With that sorted, the scale goes back together. Then I repeat the same cut on the back panel so the opening goes all the way through. Cut, sand, file. Same idea here. Now for the part that actually interacts with the car, the track. I strip it down to just the rails and slot. We only need the magnetic surface to simulate the track, nothing else. Then I measure the underside and transfer the shape onto the MDF bar that we had before. Then we can start removing material, so the slot can sit inside it, flush and straight, because if it moves, the measurements won't mean much. Once it fits, I'll lock it in with a bit of hot glue. Now it's just a matter of bringing everything together. The scale is mounted onto the MTF base, and the rail section is positioned inside the opening, aligned carefully and fixed in place. At this point, everything depends on one thing: nothing touches. The scale must stay completely independent from the magnetic base. A little bit of hot glue to mount it in place, and then I check the clearance. We're looking for a small gap around 1 millimeter or larger, because this gap is where the measurement happens. With the rails in place, I gave it a nice matching paint job, and it's time to put everything back together. Once everything is mounted in place, I add a few foam pads underneath just to level things out and give the whole setup a stable base. And now it's time for the most satisfying part of any build: peeling off the protective film. Oh yeah! Nice and clean, and suddenly it looks like a proper tool. Everything is flat, everything is in place. So now we can do our first test. Before anything else, I check the accuracy and make sure that the scale is actually working. So we will compare it to another scale. Same reading, so we're good to go. Now we can finally test what we built this for: magnetic downforce. First, I zero the scale with the car on it, so we remove the weight from the equation. Then bring it over to the rails, and straight away something's off. The readings are inconsistent, sometimes way off. At one point, I was seeing numbers close to 3 times the weight of the car, which sounds impressive, but is completely wrong. The problem isn't the scale, it's the rails. Even though they look flat, they aren't. And with magnets, tiny difference in height make a huge difference. Closer means stronger force, further away, and it drops off fast. So, time for version 2. I removed the rail section and redesigned it to be adjustable. 2 bolts, 1 on each side, with springs underneath. Tighten, and the rail goes down. Loosen, and it comes back up. Now I can control the height and, more importantly, the level. First, I bring it flat to the surface using a ruler. Then, back to testing. This time, much better. Still not perfect, but close. One side shows slightly more downforce, which tells me exactly what's happening. That side is just a bit closer. So I make a small adjustment to calibrate the device. Test, adjust, test again until both sides match. And that's the key moment. Because when both sides give the same reading, you know the rail is perfectly level and your measurements actually mean something. From that point on, it's repeatable, reliable, and finally, usable. A quick clean brings back the shine, and just like that, we turn a simple kitchen scale into a magnetic downforce meter, a tool that lets you measure something you were not being able to measure before, which means you can now tune your setup, not by feel, but with actual numbers. Dial in the downforce, balance grip and speed, and fine-tune the car exactly how you want it. Because more downforce isn't always better, but now at least you can decide how much is enough. Till next time, Crafty out.